Hello and welcome to Gaga Knits. My name's Anita and I live in South Wales in the UK, and this is where I share my crafty makes with you. I haven't got that much this time because I did an episode a little while ago, so just a few things. We are now at the end of September. It is the 27th of September, Tuesday the 27th, and it's a bit of a grey, miserable day here in Wales. Like I say, not much to share today. I have, well, a finished object, a knitting project and a sewing project. It's been quite a busy summertime. I can't believe it's gone already. We obviously had the boys and we've been away a few times. We've been to Dartmouth and to Lake Vyrnwy in North Wales, and then also recently to Norfolk and Norwich, which was Norwich in Norfolk, which was great fun. And then went back, and we've also had the builders in doing some work in our kitchen, so I might show that next time, just to, if you're interested in having a little look around. I know I always like looking at people's makeovers and things like that. So I have a finished object, crochet item. It was my Gengar Pokemon that I made for Harry. I've put the felt face on. I don't physically have it with me now because it has gone to its home with Harry, but I put a picture in just for you to see. He was very happy with it. I quite like the felt features, although the actual crocheting itself was a little bit difficult with the little spiky bits, but he's happy and that's the main thing. And the knitting project I'm working on, I have been pretty monogamous with this one, and it is the worsted knife grinder's daughter jumper. Here's a black and white picture of it. It is a really enjoyable knit. I'm using 4.5mm needles throughout, and I think I said last time that it was the pattern was a bit strange, where they said about choosing the right needles for the ribbing. Well, I got that wrong. It is knit in the same needle all the way through, but you use your preferred, where does it say, plus needles as preferred for working small circumferences in the round, meaning the sleeves. So I've decided to do the sleeves on DPNs, which are working out really well. So this is a bottom up jumper, and I shall show it to you here. So you start at the bottom, you do the rib, let's get it right here, and you knit and purl across, and do the whole rib, knit and purl in the flat, and then you slide those stitches across and do the same with the back, and then you join them together in the round, and you keep some ribbing going to the side at the split, just all the way up the side, and then so you knit up until you get to the armholes, and then you start just knitting the front and the back separately. You do some short rows for the shoulder shaping. Help if I hold it up properly. And I couldn't remember how to do that, so I looked at a YouTube video. And then you picked up the stitches for the sleeve, and there was some on waist yarn underneath. And now I am knitting down the sleeve. It's a really nice fit and very enjoyable because it says worsted, but I'm using Cascade 220. I don't know if that's Aran. I'm not sure what that one is. I'll put it on, see what you think. Take my glasses off first. Right, hopefully I won't get too much of a tangle with my sleeve. It's a really nice fit. I'm doing the third size, which is S2, and you're meant to have, I think, 4 or 6 inches of positive ease. So here it is. It's a bit, let's twist it round there. So I'm going down the sleeve, I think, and then that ribbing goes underneath and down the side, and it's quite a nice side length. I wanted it just to be like on the top of your jeans and things. I think that's quite nice. So it's fitting quite well. It's probably pulled about a bit because of my sleeve. I'm really happy with that. Right, better take it off. Oh, and it's getting so big that it's in a basket now instead of a project bag. And I knit most of the body on when we went to Norfolk, my friend and I. It was a coach trip, so it took quite a few hours to get up there, and I knitted the main part of the body on the way up and on the way back because you're just knitting round and round. So I can't wait for that to be finished because, like I say, it's a nice fit and the weather is starting to turn, and I think I'm going to use that jumper a lot. I quite often make things and then I don't wear them, so hoping this is going to set new trend and I will start wearing the things I make. And the other thing I'm working on is a sewing project. Jodie recently went to Aldi's and she found a pack of fat quarters, Marvel fat quarters from Aldi, like I say, and she sent me a message and said, could you make something for Jack out of these? So I said, yes, I'll have a think. So she bought them and brought them over, and I decided to have a go at quilting, although well, I've not done much. And the thing is, I'm not very good at quilting because I'm not very accurate, and you've got to be really precise, and measuring isn't really my thing, but I'm giving it a go. In a couple of years, Jodie got me this book with the different quilt patterns, 27 easy to make designs. And I was looking through what I could use the fabrics with, and I came across this one. It's called King's Crown, and I thought, how appropriate at the moment with everything going on with the Queen and Prince Charles or King Charles, to have a quilt with some of those blocks in. And this book is very good. It gives you the patterns, it gives you some templates. And there's a little bit of explanation in the front on how to make quilts, but there's not really much information on the actual templates. It just pretty much tells you the layout. So I went online onto YouTube to have a little look, and I found a YouTube tutorial. I'm still using my book. I'm putting my projects in here, and I've also put my show notes for today in here. So let me just go back to the quilt page. So I found a YouTube video by Sew Becca, and it's explaining the King's Crown block. And let me show you one of the blocks I've made so far. So I've made 3. I'm hand sewing them. And the reason for that is I did intend to sew them on the machine because it would be quicker, but I had a pile of the boys' Lego all over if you could see the blanket box, where the sewing box is now, it did have Lego all over it, and I couldn't be bothered to get it all off because my sewing machine lives in there. So I started hand sewing, and it's so nice. It's really enjoyable. So that's the front of the first block. And then this is my stitching on the back. Now what Becca says to do is this triangle here is actually, if you cut out an oblong or rectangle, and then you cut these triangles as squares, and then you stitch them on the top on the diagonal, and then you fold them back and cut away the corners, so you have some small pieces. I don't know if I've got them here. It's a bit hard to explain. Let me go and get one and then I shall be back. So when you sew it up, you cut the corners and you get these waist triangle pieces, and then I've just sewn those together to make little squares, so as not to waste anything. That was much easier than actually cutting these as triangles and sewing them together. Although I've had to do that on one of them because I wanted to have a couple of blocks with the big squares in the middle, and then so for example I've done that one, and then I did this one with the offcuts and then put a different fabric in the middle. So I'm just trying to use up as much of the fabric as I can, and I've done 3 altogether. So I've done this one as well. I'll take that bit of thing off. So I've done this one, and I've also decided to do a couple of full squares, just so that Jack has the whole fabric print on them. So just a square, it's a 12-inch block, supposedly. I don't think mine's going to be 12-inch, and then what's that, and then the stars. So these were all in the fat quarter pack, and there were 5 altogether. And where are the other ones? 1, 2. So you need 3 different fabrics for each block, and so I've put a few of my own in. So the purple spots was just something out of stash, and so was the yellow spots. These are all my scraps now. So I've got the yellows. It's a bit thin, that, but that's okay. It's only for the little corner pieces. And I've also got some red that I haven't cut out yet, but I'm going to make, I've got to do the King's Crown square with Iron Man. So I need to do his. It's a bit faded there. It's very bright, nice bright red, but it doesn't come up really bright on the screen. So I'm sewing those, and it's the cutting out is the worst bit, trying to be accurate, but once sewing them actually together is quite nice. I didn't know what to put on the back. I've got some of this fleecy navy material with stars, which was quite nice, but it's not really big enough, so I might have to order some to go on the back. And then I've got some wadding. Whether it's big enough, I don't know. I'm not going to make it really big. I'm just going to see how far I can stretch these fat quarters. Any of you who do quilting, is it okay to put a fleecy back on a cotton front quilt and then some wadding in the middle, or should I leave the wadding out, or maybe put some other type of lining in? Or is it all right to do fleece and cotton basically? And then if so, when I do the border, if I do that in cotton, is that all right to sew over onto the back as cotton? I don't think it would look nice as a fleece border. If you could let me know, I can look it up, but I like your input. I like if you say and help me along. So those are the 2 projects I'm doing. I'm hoping I'll finish those both quite soon. And the other thing I've got, back to my notes, is I have found a new YouTube channel, a crafty one. YouTube's a bit strange, isn't it? Because I can search for craft YouTube channels, and I don't know, you don't always find any sort of new ones, or but this lady, her name's Lorna, and her channel is called Cottoning On with Lorna, and I will link it in my show notes. And she has got 7 episodes so far and a few extra ones, and she is a primary school teacher, and she knits and she sews and she crochets and she does cross stitch, and she's just, I think she's really interesting. She's very good. She's taught herself basically all of these different crafts from YouTube and books, and so like a lot of us have. And yes, go over and give her a look. I think you'll enjoy her channel, and it'd be nice if she can get some more subscribers, because I know we don't all do it for the subscribers, but it is nice to see the numbers going up, and also for people to comment and things like that. So anyway, go on over and have a look at her. And otherwise, plans I've got coming up, once I've finished the quilt and the jumper, I would like to make a DK pair of cable socks for the winter. A nice, I'm thinking a nice warm red colour, nice slouchy ones that you can wear with your pyjamas in the evenings when you're watching TV, especially with this heating crisis. We'll need to layer up. So if you know any good patterns that you can suggest. I did have a Debbie Bliss pattern. Let me go and get the book and I'll show you. In this book, there is a pair of cable socks in here, and that's DK. I don't know, it's such a dark colour, it's not very good photo to see the cable. Oh, maybe on that page. But they're really long, and I don't want them really long. Now I've seen other people knitting long socks and they've added stitches obviously to go wider up the leg, but these ones you don't seem to. You cast on the rib and then it tells you the four row repeat pattern, and then you practically do that. You cast on the rib, you add a few stitches, so you end up with you start on, I shouldn't really tell you because it's in the book, but you add on a few stitches. It seems quite a lot of stitches, and you knit all the way along, all the way down to the heel, and I don't want them to be too baggy. And this says you need 6 50-gram balls of Debbie Bliss Baby Cashmerino, which I looked up and is like a light DK or sport weight. Well, I don't want to do, that's a lot, isn't it? I don't want to have 300 grams of yarn on a pair of socks. So I want something like that, nice and snuggly, cables, but something that's not going to be too baggy on the leg, and I don't want them knee high. So if you've got any suggestions for any nice socks, I mean, I can go on Ravelry and have a look, but if there's something that you've actually made and enjoyed, that would be nicer. And then my next jumper, I subscribed or bought the Susan Crawford well, it's not an e-book. I don't know if anyone else did it. I think at the beginning of the year or end of last year, you could buy her book, but it's not in print yet. So each month she sends you a pattern out of the book, a digital copy, and so you can start work on them, and then you'll have 12 through the year, and at the end of the year she'll actually send you the physical book, and then you've got all the digital patterns as well. There's a really nice jumper in there, Colourwork, and I'm going to start that next. Hopefully next time I have a video I'll have started it. And I'm not using her yarn because it's very expensive, but there's a lady that I follow on Instagram who makes, well, she's a prolific knitter, and she makes some beautiful sort of 1940s type style jumpers. I think she knits them out of vintage patterns as well, or reproductions of them. And there was this one jumper and I loved the colours in it, so I messaged her and asked her if she'd mind telling me what colours she used, and she did. She told me the yarn and the colours, so I bought them and they just sat waiting for me to start, so I'll show you those next time. So that's it really. It was just a quick hop on because I realised we're at the end of September already. I don't know where has the year gone? So I'm going to finish these and hopefully start on my next projects. I might from now on, now I've got a little bit more time to myself because I'm not going up to pick the boys up from school on Monday evenings or Monday afternoons anymore. I'm hoping to have a little bit more time to get on with my various crafts and things, so I might therefore have a bit more time to record. So I might pop up here and there a bit randomly with my progress reports. So yeah, just thought I'd let you know that. And please head over and take a look at Cottoning On with Lorna, and I think you'll be pleased. It's always nice to find a new crafty podcast, I think. So until next time, take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye!